Hey, welcome to this really sad live episode of GeekOutdoors.com. I just found out through the news today, through the BBC, that Stephen Hawking has just passed away this morning. He passed away, I think, in England this morning. And Stephen Hawking, he's best known for this book right here, A Brief History of Time. This was released in 1988. But Stephen Hawking is really a profound person, in my opinion. He's one of the people that I would say is one of the greatest minds and one of the greatest peoples ever. And if you don't know much about Stephen Hawking, he is a brilliant scientist who was known heavily for a person who really, went through the whole idea of black holes. Him and Roger Penrose back when he was in Cambridge. But not only is Stephen Hawking the greatest mind that I can think of besides Albert Einstein, but he is also an inspiration because Stephen Hawking, when he was born in Oxford, England, he did not have the greatest life. He did have a normal life, but whenever he was in his early 20s, 22, he had what's called ALS, or more commonly in the US, he had Lou Gehrig's disease. And so basically, he lost all motor functions. It's a neuron disease. And so Stephen Hawking, pretty much at that time, as I think anybody would understand, his life was pretty much over. At least that's what the doctors told him. They told him he only had a few years to live. And if you know Stephen Hawking, he's in a wheelchair all the time. Okay, and basically, by the time it got to the 80s and 90s, he only had his eyes that he could use. He lost control of all his motor functions. He couldn't talk. Okay, and so he could only use his eyes. Okay, and so that is a huge inspiration. I mean, whether you love science or not, that's just inspirational. And not only did Stephen Hawking lived way beyond a few years that the doctors were predicting. As a matter of fact, he lived 50 plus years way after that. 1942 to today, which is March 14th, 2018, Stephen Hawking not only survived, but he thrived. He also married his first wife, Jane Hawking. He had 3 wonderful kids. He had Robert, Lucy, and Tim. Then his second wife, Elaine Hawking. And he worked with some of the greatest minds and inspired so many people. And it's just sad, in my opinion. I really do admire Steve Hawking so much. Stephen Hawking right here, and his theories and everything that he worked on during his lifetime, it'll live way beyond this generation. And much like Albert Einstein, his theories, his great mind, a lot of his ideas we'll only discover with the true genius that he was much later on. And so that's the only thing I wanted to do today. I just read this. I just saw this on the news, and it's really sad. It's a sad day. So my condolences to Stephen Hawking's families and everybody else. There are probably billions of people around the world who has been affected and will be affected by this wonderful person. And so that's all I wanted to do today. And so if you had any thoughts on Stephen Hawking or any of his theories that he came up with, or him as a person, which I really think is the most powerful thing, him as a person, be sure to leave that in the comments area below, and any other thoughts you had on this great mind, on this great loss to the world. And so that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. And if you wanted to learn more about Stephen Hawking, be sure to read his book, his very first book, A Brief History of Time, because this is anyway, this is something that I think a lot of people should really remember, this person. Remember Stephen Hawking. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you on another episode.